All right, so the Oscars are over, and we have a lot to talk about. Some winners, some losers, some winners that should have been losers, and some losers that should have been winners. So we're going to talk Oscar Miami Film Festival, which is this week, and events, films, guests, and all that more on the FIU Film Podcast.
Welcome everyone. Hi, that was Forrest speaking. Yeah. This is Dr. Strycharski speaking now, head of the FIU Film Studies program.
I'm Akil.
I'm Khadija.
This is Daga.
All right, so let's just dive right into it. We're going to start with post Oscars news. So if you've been following our podcast the last 2 weeks, We've done some intense Oscar and opposite Oscar bad film discussion, and now that they've actually happened, we have even more material to talk about the Oscars. But don't worry, because this will probably be it, unless something else.
This is the last Oscar conversation until next year.
So lots of eventful one. Let's start with who won the most, which was Bohemian Rhapsody, right? They won 5 awards.
Ugh.
Yeah, so...
I saw that editing, though. It was wild.
What do you mean, like that?
That they won the editing?
No, like their editing sucked.
There's a clip going around on Twitter where it shows how bad the editing is.
It's really bad.
It has like 100,000 retweets.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the movie, but that clip, I was like, what?
They literally, they're jumping from character to get character, and a lot of the characters don't even talk when they jump to them, and it's just...
It's a mess.
Yeah, it's cut for no reason.
Or is it innovative?
But they were still nominated for best
or is it
editing.
montage?
I would love it if every frame of painting we're still doing recordings, because Tony would have just like chewed that apart. Yeah.
Yeah, he got a job, right, as an editor.
Yeah, he's an editor. He's an actual editor now.
So he would have totally destroyed that.
Well, he was an editor before.
Now he has like an actual job, I guess
like an actual
editor.
job.
Yeah.
He got the capitalist validation of being an editor.
Oh God, yeah.
Who actually won best editing where they were nominated? We have Khadija the intern as opposed to Jose.
Why is he so...
who can't be with us?
In editing, you said?
Yeah, best editing.
It was
Bohemian Rhapsody.
They won it?
Yeah,
They won.
Yeah.
Yes.
They won it.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's why that
Oh,
word wasn't broadcast.
Here it was like,
They won.
they were just nominated because the Academy was being...
They won best editing, best sound editing, and best mixing.
That's right.
Sound mixing.
You know.
Okay, the sound is okay, right?
Maybe one.
You
of the
know,
sound
because it's like...
categories. Even though they didn't sing their own songs,
it's
and Stars Born did, but that's fine.
But that's not what sound mixing and editing is.
I don't care about either of those movies. So
Yeah.
Don't care about what?
no, I'm saying I don't care that much about either of the
There's
movies.
no way
but
to care about
I
any
can
of these
recognize when something deserves something over something else.
Yeah.
Big losers. I think most nominated with least wins was Vice. I don't think Vice won anything.
True.
Who the hell watched that?
I thought that movie was awful.
Yeah.
It was just
I don't even watch this Dick Cheney movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, you watch it for the whole like Republican bad, and like Dick Cheney being Dick Cheney is film worthy.
And the transformations.
Like,
it was nominated for so many things.
It was nominated for a bunch of things. I don't think it won anything.
Yeah.
No, it won best makeup.
Oh,
yeah.
So it won best makeup over Mary Queen of
she
Scots.
deserved.
Yeah. Well,
The Academy.
Mary Queen of Scots.
Who watched that?
If anything,
or the favorite.
Yeah, if anything, the favorite would have won.
Makeup. Yeah, it actually did deserve that. That's something it deserved.
So yeah, the favorite, and then the biggest winner of the night, which brings us to this week's segment of Dr. Strycharski's Social Security number. So if you haven't been tuning in, we are revealing one of Dr. Strycharski's Social Security number digits every 2 weeks, and by the end of the 9 weeks, you can steal his identity. So this week's Dr. Strycharski's Social Security number is
3.
3 for the number of wins that Best Picture winner Green Book had.
You guys are on your way to true identity theft, y'all.
So tune in every week so you can find every 2 weeks so that you can learn more and try to steal Dr. Strycharski's Social Security number. And if you haven't heard the last 2, you should definitely watch our last 2 podcasts. But yeah, Green Book, the Best Picture winner, the dark horse the one that we ragged on the most to not win.
Was it the Dark Horse?
Or no, it wasn't the Dark Horse.
It was the Dark.
It was the
What's
one.
a dark horse?
The favorite was the Dark Horse.
Yeah,
What's a dark horse?
the one that you don't think is gonna win, or it has like the least chance to win, but like has like
I thought it was that one banger by Katy Perry.
Oh yeah, with Juicy J.
Yeah.
I think
Juicy.
that's still Dark Horse. Yeah. They were not winning until Best Picture came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is great. Vice and Green Book aren't gonna win Best Picture. We're gonna go home at least kind of happy, as long as it's not Black Panther, because I wanted the favorite."
Then I would have.
I would have been
Black Panther.
completely fine with Black Panther.
I would have preferred Black Panther.
No, I would not.
Black Klansman.
I would.
Over Green Book, I would have preferred it over Green Book.
Michael B. Jordan's acting alone.
Over Green
Michael
Book.
B. Jordan's acting.
Was it? Did you
Over
not?
Green Book.
Michael B. Jordan's acting.
Yeah,
What
my
about it?
ancestors.
What about it? Leave me alone.
I'm buff.
Stop attacking me.
Look at
Stop
all these
attacking
skills
me.
I have.
Stop attacking me.
I hate race
Why
because
would
I'm
you
an
be-
imperialist. Oh my
I mean,
god.
but it's also, it's Michael B. Jordan.
I know.
That guy's a total
The
Hollywood heartthrob.
Just like
He's like
what?
at the top of
Oh
the
my
tops
God.
right now.
We should make a
The
segment
entire
I put him in my
bears
movies.
and heartthrobs because I think you do really good work in excavating that. I'm not joking.
I'm
But
jealous.
Gaga,
I'm jealous. What can I
genuinely,
say? I
The
can, I
entire
can
movie, I was
appreciate
like,
aesthetics.
listen, he's a bad guy, but damn it, he's cute. And I was like,
But the acting convinced you? You thought the acting was good? You were like, this is a
Quite
good
Okay,
frankly,
no,
his
the
face, his body, just the entire thing. I was
His
Look,
dress
but look,
deserved
look,
an Oscar. He did
To go
it.
back to
Yeah.
acting in Green Book, when Mahershala Ali won his award, he didn't seem enthusiastic
Why
about
would
it.
Because he had to apologize by then.
I know, but I'm actually kind of glad he wasn't enthusiastic
Yeah.
about winning, which
Yeah.
kind of showed, because I think the story was like after the movie he talked to the family of Don Shirley, and they told him, "Oh, this isn't a real thing that happened."
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He apologized.
Yeah, he apologized to the family, and he was very regretful about even taking the movie role.
Low key, he shouldn't have taken
What?
it. I mean,
Wait, educate me on this, because I have no idea.
That's what happened.
yeah,
like,
that's what happened.
so what was the real story? What was Hollywood? What went on? That
Oh, you didn't
was
know?
no.
The whole trip was like it was kind of like Hollywoodified.
And mystified. Look at this racially neutral buddy comedy when it's not actually. So
This thing
So
wins
what
best.
happened?
Some white guy didn't teach him how to eat fried chicken. That didn't happen.
that's crazy.
That's true.
That's
I didn't know that
preposterous.
happened. That makes no sense.
Like, let's step away from stereotypes for a moment. What white person's like, honey, let me show you this fried chicken.
You've never had fried chicken? He didn't talk
Like,
about
how did
that.
fried chicken get here?
That's offensive. I'm offended.
Yeah. I'm offended. I mean, in the Nazi interracial movie, the Nazi shows Amanda Stenberg's character Jazz, so it's like, they teaching us things this year.
I thought
Yeah.
that the foreign films were the
Thick.
they were the
Yeah.
powerhouse of the awards. They were
Except
the
for Roma.
I agree.
okay, fine, but
What?
Burning, Shoplifters, Cold War, beautiful films.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Roma was ambitious, no matter what.
I
you
mean,
say
Roma's
about
a
the
pretty film.
the story's kind of
It
boring.
is pretty.
The
It is
story was
pretty.
kind of boring, but it's like a lot of the camera shots were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And Cuarón won
It
best.
was
Cinematography, yeah.
he
He
won
won-
best cinematography,
He won best cinematography
best director,
and director. He should have edited his
and
own
best
film.
picture.
Anything could have beat Bohemian
I
Rhapsody.
mean, best foreign
Best,
picture.
wait,
yeah.
he won Best Director?
He won best
Yes,
director,
he did.
best foreign picture, and best cinematography.
Huh.
So he
He-
himself got three.
Damn,
Three
he
Yeah.
made a
Made a killing.
wow.
Yeah.
Like,
Scoop,
Money.
scoop that stuff
that
up.
guy
Yeah.
scooped.
Yeah.
Five out of the
I know
6
the
past
answers,
years,
I
5
don't
of the 6 directors that have won best director have been Mexican.
Yeah. Iñárritu twice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Cuarón twice.
and Del Toro.
They call them
I'm
the Three
weird.
Amigos.
The Three Amigos, yeah.
Yeah.
They're great filmmakers.
See, the Oscar.
Oh, my
the
son
Oscars-
calls them the
Oh, what-
conquistadors. So,
The Oscars should have had Iñárritu and Del Toro
I know.
present the Oscar for Best Director, and then it would have been perfect. But they missed out on that opportunity. I don't know
They
why.
just brought out Del Toro.
Yeah, they just brought out. Oh yeah, they brought.
Well,
out
they
Del
use
Toro.
because usually it's the person who won Best Director the previous year
yeah.
who presents Best Director. So
That's true.
Yeah.
But just for the, I don't know. I just feel like it would have been nice to see.
I,
that would have like
Yeah, I know, yeah. It would've been obvious.
right, exactly.
I can't emphasize.
But then again, everyone kind of knew he was gonna win
Yeah,
because Adam McKay.
but kind of and actually knowing
Yorgos.
it's I mean,
True.
supposedly no one, like, there's a very few people actually know who the winner is before the winner's announced.
Yeah, that's true.
It shows that, like, it's a general knowledge about who already won if they had planned it out that way,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, Sam Jackson presented Spike Lee his best adapted. Wait, no, yeah, best adapted screenplay.
He didn't know. Yeah.
So maybe they don't fully allude to it, but they slightly allude to it.
All right.
So yeah, so your best supporting actor, your best picture,
Best part
and your best. They won original screenplay was all Green Book.
Yeah, they won.
Director, cinematography,
And
foreign film was Guaron.
Supporting actress was Regina King.
Yes.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
yes,
Beale
yes.
Street. Beale Street got really under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got robbed. That was for.
He got under nominated in the
That's
first place.
cinematography. Sorry.
No, definitely.
It was an adapted screenplay, right? Or was
Yeah.
it original? No, it was an adapted
From,
screenplay.
Yeah, 'cause from
Because
a book.
the screenplay in Beale Street is fire. It is like the dialogue.
I think it
in
deserved
Beale
Best Score over Black Panther. I also think it should have gotten a Best Picture nomination
Yeah, it really should have.
Yeah, I agree.
over Vice and Green Book. And
Oh yeah, considering what's
No, over
nominated,
Vice
absolutely.
for sure. Vice was not a good movie.
It's just not a
I
good
don't
movie.
know
I don't know
what the
whether-
Academy probably got into it because it was like taking a dunk on.
yeah, Republicans.
I just
on
think
Dick
that they were
Cheney.
on crack this year. That's all. When they're picking movies. Yeah.
Maybe
They
they're just,
are every year.
No,
I mean,
no,
honestly,
but this year specifically, this year was a stinker in a way other years
Oscars
haven't
have-
Well,
been.
this year
They have
was
the case
was
of the
pretty.
misguided
Yeah.
It's you're right.
justice.
You're right.
Yeah,
Right.
I kind of agree.
Was that-
not
They have-
misguided but shallow?
Yeah, they have the case of shallow social justice.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Wow,
They chose the
Green-
wrong black
Green Book.
movie to nominate, though.
Exactly. But that,
Why
no,
you
no,
don't choose
no, no,
Black
no.
Panther for best picture?
I think it deserved a Best Picture. If Avatar
For
gets a
cultural
Best Picture nomination,
Avatar didn't deserve it either.
yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
I think it did.
I don't
They
think
had
Hurt
sex while
Locker
licking their
deserved to win
brains.
that year.
It certainly didn't.
I'm
They
just
really
saying.
What's
did.
it? What?
Hurt Locker won that year.
but
Yeah.
that
His
movie
ex-wife
was like
beat him.
sensational.
But that year, that two.
But it
look
wasn't
up-
good.
It was
Yeah,
good.
you can't have two. It's fine. Anyways,
I could have pulled out like a post-colonial lesson out of my ass
That's what
on
she
how
said.
that's possible.
I was
but-
surprised.
So,
First Man got some sound editing and sound mixing awards in there.
Were you happy?
No,
I was happy. I liked
Yeah.
First
it
Man.
got nominations, but it only won for VFX.
It
Right.
won for VFX.
And
Yeah,
I was
over Avengers.
very happy about that.
Yeah, that
honestly.
makes sense.
It's
I
like,
thought
I'm glad.
Avengers, yeah.
I'm glad that we didn't get another like Plastic World CGI kind of thing going, as you know, and it's just like very solid, realistic kind of VFX.
See, I thought Avengers was gonna win until like it got close. I think I talked to you before the nomination had happened, and it makes sense that that movie won because Avengers, you can tell everything's CGI.
Right.
Whereas,
It's cartoon.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Let's not go that far. It's motion capture.
It's cartoon.
Cartoon.
It's cartoon.
So is Planet of the Apes a cartoon?
Yes.
No. But First Man, it looked real. It looked like a real, space.
Right,
Yeah.
right, you know, and
No,
there were
First
some,
Man
and there were
was
some, and there
breathtaking.
were some good practical visual effects, you
Yeah.
know, in that movie as well. You
Yeah,
know,
one of the
so it's
movies.
like, you know, I think that, you know, there's something to be said for not doing everything, you know, in
Yeah.
post production. You know, trying to get some of your visual effects taken
It's
care
a
of in
great film.
camera. Yeah,
Chazelle. It's Damien Chazelle.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Two things. Now we're to get into performances. Best Actress win. Wholeheartedly love Olivia Colman
I like that.
won for the
I'm glad
favorite.
that she won.
She's
I
adorable.
I
Yeah.
love her. I don't think she was the best actress in that film.
No.
who did you think was the best actress in the
Rachel
film?
Weisz.
Rachel.
Yeah, I,
Hey,
I,
I'll
I, I,
disagree
I will
with
definitely
you.
agree with.
I
I
agree.
agree with that.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
still liked Emma Stone's performance more.
Just
I
like-
can't really,
Yeah.
I
She
don't
was just
remember
funny.
anything, really.
But Rachel Weisz was
They were
very
all
funny too.
Yeah.
They were all good in the movie.
They
They
were all
were.
good.
They had really good
That
chemistry.
was the
Yeah.
best. I think that was the best on-screen chemistry
Yeah.
of like any of the movies.
Definitely the best ensemble.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, you know, I thought who's the guy who plays the opposition leader? He plays Beast in X-Men. He was
Kelsey Grammer.
no.
That's Kelsey Grammer.
Nicholas
Nick
Hoult.
Hoult.
No.
Oh.
Nick
There's two.
Hoult.
There's two.
You're
Oh,
You're
I'm
thinking
thinking
of
of
you're thinking of the
OG.
Bryan Singer,
Yeah.
who
Oh,
they did
yeah.
not mention at the Oscars. You're thinking of the Bryan Singer X-Men Beast.
What a transition.
But yeah, I thought he was awesome. He was hilarious.
Nicole is always good.
Nick Holt, like as the makeup wearing opposition leader with like his resting his legs on stuff and being like this whole like political act, didn't get nominated for supporting actor. But they put Sam Elliott in there for all 8 minutes of his screen time.
I'm not going to complain about Sam Elliott.
I'm
Me either.
I'm not gonna complain,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
who else was in the supporting actor category? Let's see.
It was Sam Elliott. It was what's his name from the Melissa McCarthy movie.
Oh, that movie. That movie that got Oscar
What's his
attention.
name?
What's that voice?
Sam Elliott.
It sounds like Walker, Texas Ranger to me.
Walker,
Not
Texas
even.
Ranger. Wow.
I can't remember
Wow.
his name.
The best supporting actor nomination?
I'm literally there's a lot of nominations.
It was the guy that played George Bush,
Oh,
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell,
Yeah.
Sam Elliott.
Rockwell wasn't even good either.
Yeah.
He just played drunk Bush.
It
for
was,
one
um,
scene.
But they should have had Will Ferrell like doing his
Just look up
Bush
best-
Can
impersonation.
you imagine
Best
if they got
supporting actor.
if they got Josh Brolin again?
Oh,
Just like for the contextualization.
oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyway,
and the best actor was Rami
Rami
Malek
Malek,
for Freddie Mercury.
Okay.
Didn't watch the movie, but he deserves.
what?
I was not gonna watch that.
What?
Okay, so the
Yeah.
best supporting actors were Mahershala Ali, Adam Driver, Sam Elliott.
Adam Driver.
I
bad
liked his
actor.
performance in that movie.
He didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything.
He was just Adam
It was
Driver.
a relax.
I
It was
thought
a
he was
relaxed
funny.
performance.
So
I'm
what?
qualifying
He was
everybody by
funny.
funniness.
He
He was just
funny.
himself. He
He
was
was
just Adam
funny.
Driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the same in every role. He's the same as Kylo Ren.
He
He's
is.
the
Nah,
He's
same
exactly the
girl.
I
same.
wouldn't
It's
say that.
exactly
I
the
wouldn't
same.
say Kylo Ren.
He was not Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren is the
He
same.
doesn't have to do too much transformation for Kylo Ren, though.
No, he
Yeah,
doesn't.
so
Exactly.
Okay.
Do you
Who
think
else?
it's just
Who
an
else?
edgy person?
Richard E. Grant for King.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that
That
was-
was
yeah.
the right. That
People
was
thought that was going to be the sleeper to win over
Right.
Mahershala.
Yeah, the dark
That was
horse.
they thought that was going to be the only one with a chance to beat Mahershala.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so. But
Yeah.
not happening.
I would
At
have
our
accepted
Oscar party, Danny, shout out to Danny. He was like really into Richard E. Grant's performance. He was like, I want Richard E. Grant to win everything.
the Oscar party was
Yeah,
fun.
The Oscar party.
Yeah,
The
it
Oscar
was.
party was just
It
flat out
was
fun.
You guys
Yeah.
missed out. Whoever didn't go.
Dagger didn't go.
Free food.
There was free food.
There was
yes.
fried chicken because Green Book was nominated.
Oh my God. Luckily, Dagger didn't go because she would have started the race war.
Forrest was trying to teach me how to eat fried chicken.
And then racism ended that day.
Arcadia, you
Oh,
never
yeah,
had-
Forrest is not black and I am black. That's what the joke is.
For context.
Yeah.
For context.
Well, he's actually 7% African.
7%,
A
right
whole
on, my brother.
7%.
Right on.
man. Who won the supporting actress? That was the first. That was the
Supporting actress
It was
Regina
Regina
King.
King. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So agree. I agreed on almost everything. Except foreign film.
You knew
didn't want Rome.
You knew
Yeah,
Rome was
Ro-
going to
yeah,
get
Rome
it.
was-
I knew
I
Rome-
love
Shoplifters.
The fact that
I love shoplifters.
The
Yeah,
fact that
Shoplifters.
Roma got the Best Picture nomination,
Means that it was going to
Yeah,
get
mean
best
it was
foreign
gonna get
film.
best
And
Yeah.
I watched Cold War afterwards.
Yeah.
I even mentioned it like last week.
Yeah.
Because I watched like their little section at the Oscars when they were doing cinematography awards.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god.
The
I have to
cinematography in
watch
that. The
this movie.
cinematography in that is
The
spectacular.
fact that sometimes when I see black and white
So-
films that do lighting,
Mm-hmm.
and lighting is like something that is particularly focused on and comes and emphasizes your picture, I'm like, that's a filmmaker, right? Like that
Right,
filmmaker
right.
just like
So, and that's
got
the thing is,
me.
you have those two black and white films to compare the cinematography
Yeah.
in,
Go
and
ahead.
I really think the Cold Wars is just better than
I think
the
Cold
Wars is
Romas,
better.
you know?
Yeah.
yeah. Not that Quadrans is bad, but
yeah, it's not bad, but and what I saw with Roma, just looking at like videos and stuff, I get lost in the rabbit hole of YouTube. But
yeah.
I know Roma, a lot of the scenes, like especially the ones when it was like at the beach, a lot of the cinematography was done post production. Which is
Really?
pretty weird, yeah.
That is
like,
weird.
Yeah, like the how the sun shined. The sun wasn't shining as intensely as it was in like original footage. It was hardly shining actually, and they like bolsters.
See, that's the problem I have with Roma cinematography is a lot of it actually
Overexposed.
looks digital
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
That's
Very
100.
wanted.
That's the main distinction between it and Cold War
Mhm.
that I saw. Because they're both black and white films. They look completely different.
They do.
And Cold War
It actually
captures this
that
atmosphere.
that
Yeah.
atmosphere of celluloid.
Roma just looks like they flipped the switch, pressed the button, and it went black and white.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually,
That's what I was thinking. Like when
but Roma won because of the riot scene.
Yeah,
That is
I mean,
awesome.
there's a lot
Really
of
The
good
birth scene to me, even though I
was-
hate it.
Really good scene.
Yeah.
yeah.
The beach scene I really liked too.
Yeah.
I
A lot
thought
of
that
good
I
scenes,
thought that I
actually.
thought the hospital scene, not to
Yeah.
get any spoilers, but birth scene, was just really. I mean, it's very simple, but really well done. Yeah,
Yeah. It's gonna stay in my head forever.
yeah.
And that's a sign of a good movie.
No,
They
it's
were
not,
also,
'cause that
like-
movie was trash.
I like those films where a lot of composition related filmmakers like Tarkovsky and Kubrick do this stuff where they'll have their fluid shots and then they'll like punctuate it with like a composed still.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of those in Roma was when they were like shooting at the party or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like going over like they were having at the party. And
It was
came
like an
out-
Altman-esque almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it reminded me of Barry Lyndon.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it
Mhm.
just like came out, and then they had them all shooting. I was like, damn, that's a good shot. That's a cameraman at work right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mostly agreed. But Best Picture, I wasn't even expecting it. I thought it was a dream. Like I thought I was waking up from a bad dream when they were like Green Book, and like
Everyone was horrified.
Yeah.
Even the audience. There was
Spike Lee.
We won't even get to Spike Lee yet, but there's a clip of what's it? Patrick Boseman? Is that the Black Panther guy?
Patrick?
Did I just say Patrick?
Patrick?
Chadwick
Patrick?
Boseman.
Oh, but when he turned around.
Yeah, when Green Book won,
have a cord?
when Chadwick Boseman,
Iconic.
there's a clip of Chadwick Boseman. When Green Book gets announced, he turns around, looks at Michael B. Jordan, and gives him like a look.
And just turns around slowly.
Yeah, turns around slowly and then turns back.
Oh, man.
That's how I feel everybody reacted.
Yeah.
You can hear the audience.
I was much more vocal,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Just like,
He threw something at the screen.
At our nice. I mean, no, he didn't.
Wait, yeah, no, he didn't.
Not at these public funded projectors. How could he?
From what I remember, it sounded like screams of shock from the audience when it won.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I was really hopeful.
Okay.
I thought they were gonna give it to Bohemian
Oh
Rhapsody.
my
I was like,
God.
no, they're not.
I think that would have been worse.
It really would have been.
I think that would have been worse.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Most of those
tough.
movies
That's
sound
tough.
like
That's
Lifetime
tough.
movies
That's
to
tough.
me.
Yeah.
Because you could argue that Green Book isn't a bad movie.
No, I don't think it's a bad movie.
I have made that argument.
Yeah, you could argue it's
and
I
Daga
think
has
it's a good
Yeah.
given me
Yeah.
like the stink eye when
Yeah.
I tried to do that. But yeah.
It is.
But Bohemian Rhapsody is just trash.
Damn.
Yeah, so it
So how do you really
Form
feel about
and
Bohemian
content,
Rhapsody?
guys. Form and content.
What?
Form and content. You're an English professor.
Yeah. What about it?
Form and content.
You want to assert that they're inseparable. I want to say that analytically, form and content are absolutely
God.
absolutely. Yeah.
No.
Take some higher level English courses to understand this argument
Yeah.
with
yeah.
Dr. Strycharski.
This is some level 4,000 shit, y'all.
The essence of literature, of art.
So anyway,
Best original song as opposed to score.
yeah, I mean, how like
Oh, you're
that was a
welcome.
foregone conclusion.
So that performance.
Tell
Are
me
they
something, girl.
I saw
Tell
the
me
sound
something.
voice. She
And then-
wants to marry him.
Of course she
Shut
does.
up.
Damn.
Who does not want to marry Bradley Cooper?
Exactly.
Man?
We
But
all
we're
want
not
him.
opening
It's
this
just like,
again.
but the man has a girlfriend and a
I
daughter.
would marry
Leave him
Lady
alone.
Gaga before I'd marry Bradley Cooper.
I would not.
She looks.
I would
better than
too.
he does.
I would
I
too,
don't
yeah.
believe
Well,
that.
I'd marry both of them. But Bradley Cooper is like.
Bradley Cooper's
I
so
just
pretty.
want to
He's
point
kind
out
of
He's not, but he's
that
got
this
a
is her
master's from
second broken
Georgetown in
engagement.
English literature.
Wait, what?
I just want to point out that this is her second broken engagement.
Yeah, she was with that other dude.
From
The
Chicago
Chicago
Fire.
music video.
He's from
Oh.
Chicago Fire. It's fine. He was
He's a
in Vampire
good-looking guy.
Diaries.
He
the
is.
man is
Vampire
beautiful.
Diaries.
The man is beautiful.
Yeah.
And
But
he's perfect.
Does looks
And it's
define
just-
someone?
Listen.
Yeah, no. Bradley Cooper is a
Yes.
cultured English, like higher education English major who can sing, who's a good actor,
Actor,
who's
is
a
a
director.
director.
He's not just an English major. He's a higher education English major.
major.
Okay.
Fluent in
Major
French.
heart.
Fluent in French.
Okay, that language ain't shit.
Listen.
And
Watch yourself.
he's 6'3" with a six-pack.
Okay.
Yeah, some guys just have it all.
Listen.
Like, why couldn't I be born Bradley Cooper?
Stay with the six pack.
I question Lady Gaga's just low-key sanity, but also just like her inner relationship. And I feel bad saying it, but
I don't know her.
I love Lady
the
Gaga.
fact that she didn't marry Taylor. I'm just saying. The fact that when that relationship broke apart, I was like, oh, so she's a problem? Because clearly he's perfect.
She's on her way to EGOT. She just needs to go to Broadway.
But she's got an ego.
She's
Of
got an
course she
ego?
does.
Oh, that's a joke. Okay.
But also,
Come in 2019, y'all.
I think she's
No,
more
I
of
love-
a
I think she's a
work-focused
great
person.
artist.
Oh yeah.
I think
Oh
she's
definitely.
like an actual
She-
genuine artist.
That's
too.
not. I've never questioned
Since
that.
recently I have sadly canceled Michael Jackson.
Oh.
I have
That's
to
newsworthy.
I have to admit that
Yeah.
Lady Gaga is my favorite pop star.
Oh
Oh, wow. How's
Yeah.
the taste?
Wow. That's.
I mean, I'm
yeah.
not gonna hate. Like that's a valid.
She's one of
it's a valid opinion.
she comes off to me as like a shining light in like the vapid world of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Who's my favorite?
And pop is
person?
terrible, and she's the only one in pop
No,
making
but
a decent movie.
No,
like-
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
I
hasn't
think
had
she
a
just
single
put
in
out-
like 10 years.
That's a lie. That is a lie. She puts out
Who's
music.
You're the
Jennifer-
only
who's
person
the
I would
pop
know who
girl
would
that
keep
does
up
it
with
for
Carly
me?
Rae Jepsen.
I keep up with her casually.
She was a third placer on Canadian American Idol.
Oh,
Not even
that's
American.
sad. That is depressing.
No, but a
was
lot of
great.
people go up for emotion.
But I would agree with with your assessment of Lady
Lady Gaga.
Gaga. I want to see her do more acting. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Supposedly she's supposed to be playing Cleo. Her and Angelina Jolie are fighting
Cleopatra.
over the Cleopatra role.
Why?
Why would
All right.
First, Angelina Jolie needs to gain weight.
Oh.
Looking at her makes me uncomfortable.
We're
Looking
not,
at her makes me
no,
uncomfortable.
we're
I'm
not,
sorry
we're not,
about
we're
it.
not body shaming.
Body
It's
shaming.
not
We're not body shaming.
shaming.
Yes, that
I'm
is. We're not
concerned.
body
Oh my God.
shaming.
Shut
And now
up.
for and now
Shut
and now
up.
for and now for
It's not
body
body
shaming with
shaming.
Khadija.
Oh my,
I'm
and now for
concerned.
men telling women what
I
body
feel
shaming
like
is.
she is.
Oh, look at you guys.
I mean,
You're
what-
not body shaming.
Let me
I'm
explain this to you.
I just-
All right.
You guys are good men.
Yeah.
We got 3 good men on this podcast.
A few good men.
I'm stressed out.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
does, and it's just like I want her to be okay.
But them
Oh
cheekbones.
my
Them
gosh.
cheekbones are always gonna be there.
Yeah, but them cheekbones.
Those
Does she have an
cheekbones-
Emmy? Does Lady Gaga have an Emmy?
Yeah.
She does?
Yeah.
Is it
There's
that
no way
not
she
the
got an
Ian
Emmy for
Oh,
a
she
American Horror
does.
Story.
She does.
She does.
She does.
Is that not the
She
Ian
does.
Ego?
Yeah, the
It
Ian
wasn't
Eagle.
for acting, was it?
I don't know.
She does have an Emmy, but I don't know what it's for.
I'm pretty sure it's for American Horror Story.
Yeah. I don't watch that.
I did
Bro,
not
she was
watch
in the
that shit.
Hotline Bling finale, American Horror. Like, that was awful.
No, but she was awesome.
She was good?
In American Horror Story, yeah.
Taylor.
I stopped watching it not because of her, but because the storyline fell apart. But she was pretty good.
Yeah, it started getting weird.
Yeah.
I watched the first 2 seasons and like it.
But every
kinda-
season of American Horror Story is unsustainable after like the first 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Except for the first 3 seasons.
I can't do that show.
Yeah, I can't do it
It's
either.
whack.
It's bad.
Mm,
I don't like TV, period, but
I do.
that's
I
fine.
think-
I love
No,
TV.
but the golden age of TV is crashing. Like,
Is
they're-
it?
They're forcing it. Yeah.
I don't know. They're actually saying it's actually.
No, prestige
we're-
TVs are oversaturation. Right
I don't
now.
know. They're saying it's entering.
I feel like
Because
But it's been entered. Now it's getting bad.
I don't know.
Yeah, she has a B too.
Big
Yeah.
big directors are starting to do
True
TV.
Detective season 1, that was when shit was popping
I-
off.
I don't-
Now
I
we're
don't-
in the
I-
trenches.
I think it's kind of gotten because
Yeah.
at one point on TV you had like Mad Men, Boardwalk
Exactly.
Empire, and True Detective on at the same
All
time.
at the
Maybe
same
I shouldn't
time.
give my opinion because I don't watch TV.
Exactly.
I'm
I just know that
Definitely
Scorsese.
not.
I just know that
dying, though.
Scorsese's doing.
Oh no, she does not have an M.
Scorsese's doing a miniseries with DiCaprio,
She doesn't
Okay.
have an
which
M.
is
It's
pretty
alive.
crazy.
It's alive.
Alex Garland is
She doesn't have
doing that is coming out his own
She's
show.
nominated.
Park Chan Wook's show comes out this week.
Oh,
I mean, not
um,
this week.
Guys, we
this
must
year.
say, Lady Gaga does not have an ego. She just has a go. There's no E.
Oh,
There's
That's
no
what I
way
thought.
to go.
She just gotta go.
she just got nominated then.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just nominated for like 3 times, but. she-
Whoopi Goldberg out here with an ego.
EGOT.
EGOT.
Yeah.
And doesn't Barbara Streisand have one?
Yes.
So
I
does
feel like she would.
John Legend.
Oh,
John
so-
Legend, that's right. Yep.
Oh,
Is he the youngest person with an EGOT?
I don't know.
I think he might be.
I thought a lot of
By the way, for those of you, our listeners who don't know, EGOT stands for an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of the performances at the Oscars were not
He's
good.
second youngest.
Second youngest was the youngest.
I don't know.
He won it jointly with two others. So maybe one of the other two. But yeah, I thought that the music performances at the Oscars weren't necessarily good. A lot of the singing performances.
What?
Yeah.
You're so wrong. You're just wrong.
I mean,
That's
not,
what?
You didn't like the theatrics of the shadow performance?
Who was it that they sang that song with the like civil rights history on the backdrop? It was Jennifer Hudson. I didn't think she sang well.
They just
No one
dusting
did.
off my
Oh
girl
no,
for
Jennifer
the
Hudson
Oscars.
didn't sing well.
Oh,
I agree with that.
she's-
Yes, that was.
Wait,
Wait,
to
what?
be fair, I thought it was the backing music also threw it
Lady
off.
Gaga was awesome.
Wait, was she just...
Lady
Not enough. That was the
Gaga.
best
Hold on.
performance.
What did Jennifer Hudson do? Was she just screaming or something? What?
Low
No,
key.
she was-
That's usually her thing. That's
she
her
was singing-
modus operandi.
She sounded like she was singing off key.
How
No,
dare
this
you?
wasn't that good. And
She was singing
also-
very
No, she
intense.
How dare you reduce soul?
I'm not reducing soul to screaming,
To
but
screaming.
but she be
She's
screaming.
not so.
You're reducing
She
soul to
definitely
screaming.
is.
She does not represent the entire.
Exactly. She doesn't represent the
You guys
gift
don't know what
of
she's
soul.
talking
Wait, who?
You don't know what you're talking about. Jennifer Hudson has soul? Come on, bro. She's a participant.
Yes.
Yeah,
She's
well,
not.
anyway,
I'm not saying she soul itself.
Yeah.
That's what you just said.
No, I didn't. But her voice is
Stop it.
Yes, we get you.
her
But she's
voice
not
is in the
screaming.
realm
It's
of a
okay.
soul music singer.
David Rawlings and Julian Welch's performance of "When a Cowboy"
that was
Oh,
awesome.
that was good.
was
That was-
That
really
was
that
good.
was
good.
I'd
good.
forgotten
was-
that. But
I didn't
that
think
was
Bradley
good.
Cooper did well.
But he's not a
He
singer.
did okay.
Tell
He
me
did okay.
something,
Yeah,
girl.
okay.
His voice was all. But it was
You know, he directed the way the performance was recorded.
Oh.
That whole one take.
Oh,
thing.
I remember someone was like, "Why didn't they just film the front of the piano like instead of was it you?"
He
Was
said
it
he
someone
wanted to
else?
film
No.
it like how they
Yeah.
shot Stars when we
Right.
see the crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
And you remember they came out from the crowd, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was.
They did a very good job of like getting everyone talking about their performance.
They're so good at faking being in love. It makes you wonder.
And there were no cuts. It was a long take.
Oh my God.
Makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder.
I don't know. They looked at each other a couple times.
Great staging.
Yeah.
Bradley
gonna
Cooper's
kiss.
a great actor.
I thought it was so funny.
Is he a great actor?
I think he's a great actor.
Who are we
He's a
talking
good
about?
actor.
Good
Cooper?
job.
He's a damn good actor.
He's a damn good actor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel so alone at this table sometimes.
What, you don't think he's a good actor?
No, I don't think he's a good at anything.
Like I don't.
Damn.
Wow.
Okay.
Not a good actor, not sexy,
Not
No.
sexy.
It's like, sorry, you're in the
not a,
minority
probably
here.
not a
Yeah.
good singer.
Not
right?
So who do you
Not a
think
good
is a
singer.
good actor? Let's do some
You think
comparisons.
DiCaprio's a good actor, or did he just
No,
play the
not
same
really.
guy every time?
Mhm.
No.
DiCaprio has
But he did.
DiCaprio
Okay, I
has become
finally
a good
saw
actor.
The Revenant though, and the way he did get his ass beat, I guess he finally did deserve it.
I think he's a good actor, but
But-
he has kind of like shoehorn rolled himself as rich asshole.
Yeah.
He does rich asshole
But
awesome.
then I'm also really mean, and I think, oh, if River Phoenix didn't die, Leonardo DiCaprio wouldn't be a thing.
Oh, Disney.
Yeah.
So
You guys are uncultured.
now let's get on for the Oscars. I think we've talked enough
No,
about
we're
it.
tired. Like I said,
That's it. It's done. It's over.
it's dead.
It's
Oscar found dead in LA.
Except
Until next year's Oscars.
Yeah.
We have another. Does the Oscars count as a film festival? The Academy
No.
Awards?
Oh, no.
Just an
No,
award
it's just an
ceremony?
award ceremony.
Yeah.
Well,
Kind.
we have the Miami Film
Oh.
Festival, which we definitely
We
have
are
to talk
right
about.
in the middle of as we speak.
As you are listening
America's
to us
con.
in the future. But the Miami Film Festival is still going on.
Yes, it is.
At least if it's March 2019. So we got all sorts of movies and guests speaking at the Miami Film Festival. Is there a theme for the festival this year?
No.
I don't know if
I
there's
don't
a
think so.
specific.
I don't
theme.
think there's a
It's, you know,
specific theme.
There's
but,
an image, it's a flower.
Hibiscus.
Winky
That's what
eye,
they say.
Yeah.
It's hibiscuses.
Yeah, hibiscus. Yeah,
They
there
are,
you go.
They are featuring, or they already featured Burning,
Yes,
which
they
was
did.
nominated for Best Foreign Language Film.
Yes.
And they showed that at the Gems Festival in the fall, which is an amazing little mini festival. I mean, I'm sorry. As is the Miami Film Festival, amazing.
Burning was
Amazing
not
opportunity.
nominated for best film.
It was shortlisted.
Oh, that's right. That's
oh,
right.
it was shortlisted?
Yeah.
Oh, it was one of the
Yeah.
snubs we talked
Right.
about.
Yeah.
That's
It was
right.
not.
And you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it.
What'd you think of it?
I'm sorry, y'all.
Oh, of course.
Aw.
It was based off a Murakami book, so I should have just known going in.
And Faulkner.
Yeah.
like mixed in a little bit
Faulkner's
of
my
Faulkner.
favorite American writer.
Okay, I
Okay.
haven't read him like that.
Boring.
So that I'm going to.
Boring.
I'm a
Faulkner?
Flanagan O'Connor girl. That's
Oh,
yeah.
nah.
Okay.
But
Alright.
yeah.
I can't
was,
argue with that.
I was like a manic pixie dream girl in 2018. Oh my god.
Yes.
Wow,
I
she got her
myself.
titties out. She dancing. Oh my god. But I thought it was cool
What?
seeing.
That scene is so awesome.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
That's
Okay, man.
fantastic.
Okay,
It's
Sarah.
fabulous.
But it was cool seeing Steven Yeun be in a Korean role, and also the
Yeah.
differences in how he is as an actor. There, I thought
How did you do?
I thought it was a good performance in
Yeah.
general, like how he was. It was just.
I am Korean.
I can't explain it, but I was like, yeah, this dude different. This is not the dude I'm used to. But and I also like the way the movie was shot, but it was just like my issues with the story. I was like, okay, so do I think this is a good movie or not? If that makes sense.
Rate out of 10.
Out of 10, I think I would give it a 7 or an 8.
Wow, that's pretty high
Yeah, it's pretty
rating.
generous.
That's a high
What would you
rating.
give Goodfellas out of 10 so that everyone could put it into perspective?
Oh god.
The first time I watched Goodfellas, I would have given it a 10. Let's give it that. Let's keep it.
Okay.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I would have given it.
Before she became woke.
No, I watched Goodfellas the first time 2 years ago.
What would you give Freddy Got Fingered out of 10?
I've never seen it.
Thank God.
Yeah, I have taste. What I've been trying to tell you guys is I have taste. Yeah.
Nah.
Any other movies you're interested in at the festival?
The Toni Morrison documentary
Oh,
is
yeah.
wonderful.
Of course.
Did you-
Um,
did you
I watched
see
it
that?
yesterday. Makes your heart warm. She's wonderful.
She's a great writer.
Yeah.
I had to read Song of Solomon in high school.
Yeah.
It was
That's my favorite book. Of
I'm
hers,
gonna read it
actually.
again.
Yeah,
It was-
Yeah.
I'm gonna read
it was
it again.
really dark for like high school me, like reading about guitar,
Yeah.
like just being this
the
this
guy.
backstabbing terrible like person.
I mean, but Milkman was on that bullshit.
Yeah,
So
Milkman was on that bullshit. That's
Yeah.
like a,
How many of her books have been adapted to the screen?
I know they did Beloved,
Mhm.
and that might be it.
That's crazy.
Thank God. No.
That's it. That's
Thank God.
No, I agree.
But you would
yeah.
expect
no, because
that's
When
fine.
I think-
like I'm glad, but you would expect an artist.
And I'm gonna. You
when
guys
I
are
was
gonna
like-
catch me on TV 20 years from now when they try to adapt one of her movies after she passes on. I'm
Mhm.
like, no,
Yeah.
don't do it.
I think oftentimes
No,
oftentimes bad books make good movies.
Yeah.
well, the
You know?
thing is that
Yeah.
That's true.
when it comes to adapting books, there are just like these books that are so driven by voice
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the
It's the
narrator.
narrator. Yeah.
That
Right.
you cannot. That the film is not the medium to do that. It doesn't have that essence.
No.
Yeah. You,
And
can't,
then-
you don't want
Dead,
you don't want a bunch
like-
of narration going through a
Right.
film.
You,
A lot of
Yeah.
time.
like you
Well,
couldn't adapt.
Goodfellas is all narration.
But Scorsese's one of the few directors who gets away with narration.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't adapt Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, or Ulysses. I don't think you could adapt those.
I mean, it's not a question
Kubrick
of-
says if it can be written, it can be filmed. So,
Yeah.
However,
I mean, that's why Stephen King didn't like that damn movie.
I never thought that. So when I first read The Dead by James Joyce,
hmm
I was like, that was one of the times where I was like,
The
"There's."
snow softly falling at the end.
Yeah, he's
yeah.
describing everything in the narration. He's talking about
Yeah.
the flowers and the atmosphere. And John Huston made an adaptation.
Well,
That is fantastic.
yeah. So the
But
thing
it's
is
in a different realm.
it's a different it's a different thing, and that's the thing is like there's the story, and you can take the basic outline of a story and make a movie, but
don't expect.
it's not the movie's not the same as the book.
Don't
I think
expect
one
the
of
And
same
you know,
thing.
there's like fandoms out there
You can't even
who
expect the same
expect
theme.
books to the movie to be the book that it's based on. It's just like, no, that's not. The movie's an entirely different thing.
Yeah. I
Right.
think you just have to find like the essence of the book.
Essence.
No, seriously, that's
No,
the
yeah,
only,
the
that's the
essence.
only way you can make
The
a.
theme and argument.
You need to self-mystify, and then you can make the movie
You guys
out
are
of the book.
hurting me so much.
Smug English major.
I know. I'm just like, God damn, there is no essence.
There is no essence. Well,
And I feel like that's with like even comics. It's adaptations aren't
They never hold up.
like Watchmen. Oh my god.
Akira's good.
okay.
I enjoyed watching it.
Listen,
But
I
then again, I
liked
never saw
Watchmen.
the comics.
Well,
The
all
movie?
he did, he just copied exactly what was in the comic and put it on the screen.
Yeah.
No, he didn't, because the
What's wrong?
ending is completely different. Like in terms of the way the world ended and the way, yeah.
The way the world ended, there wasn't like that big octopus monster bull crap. But besides that, everything was exactly the same.
No, it
Isn't
isn't.
that what people always complain about? Is when they go see the movies, like, why did you change that?
Actually, isn't.
Yeah, everyone's like, you either.
There's no
Really
way it
exactly
could have
same.
inserted the content
No.
because it is this multi-form book.
I said it wrong.
Yeah.
He didn't copy exactly the book, but what he put in the movie is from the
Directly
book.
from the book.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Which is also a problem because there's stuff you're missing in the actual book that
The
you need.
documents!
Yeah, but there's certain things from that book.
And then the comic
Yeah.
book that goes through the comic book. So, yeah.
Calmly.
I love watching it.
Um,
I make my children read it.
So
Same.
you guys
Yeah.
aren't interested in that documentary?
No.
This Changes Everything with Meryl Streep.
I didn't
No.
see it. Did anyone make it out for that?
No.
No.
No, I haven't seen it, but it's one
What's
of
it
the. It's
about?
one of the more. It's
it
about
on
women in
YouTube?
film.
No.
So
And
some people were thinking that it's very like disingenuous, and some
I
people.
mean, yeah, because all of those women, their feminisms are all very shallow and market-based. So,
That's the example I'm thinking of.
yeah.
With
I
Meryl
mean, one
Streep
would
in there.
assume, yeah, Meryl Streep. Oh, pay me equally. I'm a millionaire. Shut up.
wait
a
I think that
I hate when actors
You
are talking about the
okay,
gender pay.
all
I'm like,
right.
shut up. Shut up. Sorry.
Oh,
Shut
wow.
up.
but you have to see it before you can
No,
really
like,
judge
for example,
it, right?
like when you hear Emma
What
Watson
he
say
said.
from like the tea plantations to like the Hollywood doors, or she made equivalents like that. Those are not the same thing, and your economic circumstances aren't the same. I forgot which actress did say that the pay gap isn't her issue; it's the issue of other women.
Mhm.
And that's the way it should be championed. Actresses shouldn't be talking about, oh, this actor made this millions more than I did. There needs to be a revolution.
The Miles Davis
I-
documentary.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
By the same token, I haven't seen the documentary, and I think that the angle the documentary is taking is specifically that the moments where there's this assumption that things are going to change in Hollywood
Yeah.
have never borne the fruit that they have been expected to.
And
You
I
know.
never felt it.
So there have been many instances where it's like a film will come out and people say, well, this changes everything, and then nothing changes,
Nothing at all.
or the Me Too movement happens, and so everyone assumes this changes everything, but is it going to change?
No, it's not.
Well, of course, because it's still capitalist, right, Daca?
And patriarchal. and all these other things.
And phalangocentric as well.
Oh, Phalangocentric.
Phallogocentric.
Phallogocentric.
Right.
Right.
Logocentric.
Right.
Damn, I'm
Logocentric,
getting
yes.
war
Yeah. Wow.
war flashbacks to
Right
Derrida.
wing, fashy terms.
Yes.
No.
All right. So
The Miles Davis documentary is airing
yeah,
Tomorrow. Very
Yes,
excited.
Yes,
Very excited.
Yes, that's going to be. Is that
At Silver Spot.
Is it Rush
6:35
Line?
p.m.
Do you know if
Yeah, I
there
have
are
it
tickets
right here.
available?
So it is tomorrow, Silver Spot Cinema 13,
What time?
Rush Line only.
But
At
the
6:45.
thing is, I mean, a
I've
lot
seen
of films
Yeah.
the Rush Line has been getting in for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big one.
Does Corbin have a documentary coming out this year? He has a new one.
Yeah,
right?
he's got two.
Which ones are those?
So it's Screwball.
Screwball.
is the-
You
is
already
the-
told me this
Yeah,
once.
that's the big one that's about the doping scandal in sports, especially baseball.
A-Rod.
A-Rod, yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Corbin, if you haven't checked out Billy Corbin films, he's a Miami boy.
I'm looking him
So-
up
Boy.
right now.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
he does things. He did the first ESPN 30 for 30, the only good ESPN 30 for 30.
Yeah.
I like the
Cocaine
Allen Iverson
Cowboys.
one. And Cocaine Cowboys.
Oh, he's
The Randy
really a
Moss
Miami
ones,
boy.
And what
Yeah.
was the backyard boxing one that he did?
With Kimbo. The one in Quran.
And he should do one with Rick Ross.
No.
That'd be a great Billy Corbin Miami documentary.
I've actually never watched any of his documentaries.
Should, because he's a Miami boy. So
A lot of
his
people
stuff
love
pertains
Kimbo, dude.
to culture from Miami.
Rest in peace,
Yeah,
Kimbo.
rest in peace, Kimbo.
I have a lot, like my uncle was friends with him, my dad was friends with him.
Really?
Oh yeah.
My his son, one of his sons, he played football against them.
Wow. He was on iCarly.
But yeah, if you're from Miami, you should definitely check out Billy Corbin films. because he's got all the history, and he's gonna keep making films forever. And now he's doing Screwball. A-Rod's featured, another Miami boy. You know,
Yeah.
What is a Miami boy?
someone from Miami. Miami boy.
So
one of my friends call themselves.
one of the
I
unique
see.
elements in that particular film is that when they do the reenactments, how documentaries oftentimes do reenactments
Yes.
things and all. So when they do the reenactments, they actually have child actors doing the reenactments of like playing adults.
Oh my god, it's
Yes.
perfect.
Okay, that's cute
Yeah.
as hell.
It's perfectly quirky.
Yeah.
And he also has a really fun Twitter, Corbin. He's pretty involved all the time.
Yeah.
So I like keep up with it. And he's one of the special guests. So you're actually going to get to see a great, particularly relevant Miami documentary filmmaker talk about Miami documentary films
In Miami.
in Miami.
So then his other film is Magic City Hustle, and that's about
That sounds awesome.
I think it's about former like football players from the U who are play high lie. And
I was thinking about-
following them into their
It's a
high
a
leg.
huge part of
I
Miami
do
culture.
see that highlight by
Yeah.
Billboard. I'm like, who the fuck is
It
playing
was
highlight?
in the 80s. In the 80s, that was like the sport besides
Explain
football to get into Miami. That's where like all the cocaine cowboys like would
Mhm.
fix their games and launder their money.
Yeah.
And
What
there's
is that?
I saw an
Highlight is
episode
like
of
a
Archer.
Spanish. It's a Basque Spanish sport.
Mhm.
That it was really popular here in the 80s. It's kind of like racquetball. I might be butchering the explanation, but it's like racquetball with like 100-mile-per-hour balls
Yeah, you can get hurt.
flung off like baskets.
Yeah, these Scoopy basket arm
Yeah,
things.
yeah. That's what I was trying to. When I was like
Yeah.
that.
It's
that's
also
what I was
considered
trying
a
to say.
super dangerous sport.
Yeah, well, 100 miles an hour.
But that used to be our sports gambling before we got dog racing, which now we got rid of.
Oh.
Before we were known
we got
for
rid of
dog racing, it was
Oh.
Highlight. Highlight was it in Miami, and it's featured in his newest documentary, as it should be, because he's a
He's
Miami boy
Miami.
who does Miami things.
I see.
Right.
Um,
And so it's all about and so it's all about highlight is part of Miami culture, and Miami
Yeah.
culture being about the hustle and all of that stuff. So,
The hustle, literally.
Yeah.
Another special guest that I know Dago's mentioned she was pretty excited for was Boots Riley,
Yeah, I didn't get to see him,
but she saw Sorry to Bother You.
but it's not sorry to bother you.
He
Recommend?
called Spike Lee a coon.
Yes, he did, and I said, right on, my brother. I read that whole call out letter.
He was
He's
part.
amazing.
He was part of Hate You Give, right?
No, I don't know because I wasn't paying attention to that movie for reasons.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, what reason?
Colorism reasons.
Colors, reasons.
No, that's
Colorism.
important. We
Yeah.
don't have to talk about it, but yeah.
Yeah. So Boots Riley, you like his politics, as
I
you
do
said.
like his politics.
Oh.
I enjoy a socialist filmmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barry Jenkins,
That's my guy.
special guest.
With them glasses.
No politics.
So another super.
No politics?
I don't think he's that political.
So
be
you guys
honest
just
with
didn't
you.
watch Bill Street?
No, look.
You guys
Okay,
just
he's
did
political,
not-
but I don't think it's not like Boots Riley. Sorry to bother you.
Yeah,
political.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not in your face.
Good
This is the
filmmaker.
worst
He's like
time.
a filmmaker. It's hard to get
Oh,
away
you
from
sound
the
like you had a
politics. of
chip on
films,
your shoulder and kill.
but they're character stories.
I'm gonna throw down
like
here
Moonlight
before
to me is
the
not a
first
political story.
podcast
It's a
is
love
over.
story. It's a legitimate,
Love
unique,
is
deep
political.
love story. That's true.
Yeah.
But again, it's not like Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be there.
Horsemen
So
with big
He
boots.
was
yeah,
the night.
They
They came out, the Night
He was
Heroes.
Heroes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
that was the screen. That was
And
the
the
film he was
director of
attending.
Mandy was
Not the director, screenwriter.
screenwriter of
Aaron
Mandy.
Sturridon. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Barry Jenkins, another prominent Florida
A
filmmaker,
Miami boy.
a Miami boy.
Forrest says.
And he went to FSU.
The
Film
director
School.
of Beale Street most recently, but
Yeah,
also
that got
Moonlight,
snubbed
which
and
won the Oscar a
robbed.
couple of years ago. Right.
He went.
Rightfully so.
I was
Yes.
almost alumni with him.
He went to the Florida State University Film School, which our resident writer here at Kiel got into for the screenwriting program. Yeah.
I do think that the FSU film school, like they
really
have
good.
become religious followers of our podcast now.
Hey.
I believe that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's up, y'all?
Especially now that we mentioned both Barry Jenkins and Akil.
Yeah.
They have no choice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Miami
Maybe they could
legends.
sponsor us.
Yeah. They're definitely a top 5 film school, though.
So I saw Rojo last night, and I highly recommend that for anyone who likes movies.
Tell us a little about the movie.
The movie is an Argentinian film, and you know, there's a lot of obviously Argentinian films that deal with the dirty war and life after the military coup and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie that focuses on Argentina right on the brink of falling into the coup and the sort of moral decay that was part of the you know, general culture and I mean, I don't you could say pre-coup Argentina, but it's like right on the brink of the coup happening, and then the coup happens. But it's like you don't direct. Well, it's just a really well made film. And it also like it thematizes the whole idea of disappearance in a way that's different from how you would normally get that presented in a movie about the dirty war years. And there's just like interplay between it and there's a Chilean detective who shows up, a celebrity detective who shows up halfway through, which is really bizarre and absurd. But he's also an actor who appears in a lot of Pablo Larraín's movies. If you know Larraín, he's a Chilean director who, you know, cut his teeth talking about making movies about, you know, the Pinochet coup in Chile and stuff like that. And so the connections between the two are it's just a smart, good film.
All right.
Yeah.
Check out Rojo.
Rojo.
Mm-hmm. And the other good thing about Rojo is the lead actor in it. So there's something about like that sort of raspy baritone and Argentinian accent. You're speaking with an Argentinian accent that's just like that's how a voice should sound. You know, that's like just what language should be. When hearing someone say, you know, and this is why I've always loved. I figured out watching this why I've always loved Ricardo Darín so much, is because it's the same kind of you know, voice and pronunciation. But the guy who's the lead in and his name is escaping me right now. But the guy who plays the lead in it has that voice.
The voice does things.
The voice.
Your boy Luis Guzman is going to be there Friday.
Oh,
Talking
that's
about being
right.
an actor in Hollywood, basically.
My boy?
That's
Yeah,
your
the
boy,
club
Akil.
owner in
Yeah.
Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
That's the second time I did that.
It is.
Yeah, so if you didn't know, Akil's favorite director
Jack!
is Paul Thomas Anderson. So yeah, Luis Guzman. If you're interested in, I guess, what it's like to be a Latino actor in Hollywood.
I haven't seen him in a movie in a while.
He was in Journey to the Center of the Earth,
When
which
did-
was like 6 years ago.
Okay.
That's a lot.
I don't know if he's retired.
God, that was a horror.
The what's the Pacino movie then?
Oh, Carlito's Way.
Carlito's Way.
Yeah,
That's right. That's
He
right.
was in Carlito's Way, but that was even longer ago.
Yeah.
That was like 26 years ago this year. It's a good movie, though. I like Carlito's Way.
Journey to the Center of the Earth was more than 6 years ago. It was probably about 10 years
10
ago.
years ago.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
I remember being a kid.
That's when
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser was still alive.
Yeah.
Don't do that to him.
It's the same guy from The Mummy, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
After he came back and he gave us his piece,
What?
he needs a hug.
Brendan
What
Fraser.
happened?
Yeah.
He's gone down.
He got like abused.
He's
and
been
then
depressed.
He spiraled. And
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
He spiraled, lost his
Yeah.
hair basically,
Yeah.
and his six pack.
He needs a hug.
Yeah, and then, as Khadija would say, he needs to lose some weight.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
I have never
This
said
is
that
a bit
to anyone in my
frightening.
entire life.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Oh my
He,
God.
look at those.
What?
He's
See,
still.
He
Are
looks
they-
like he can play a politician.
Is that just because Christian Bale
God.
also put on like 100
No, it has
pounds
nothing
to
to do
play
with
a
Christian
politician?
He was George of the Jungle.
Yeah, he was George of the
That's
Jungle.
right.
Yes.
Yep.
What? Wow.
Watch
No,
out for
he's
that
been
tree.
doing things.
He's not doing
He
things.
is doing
What did he
things.
do?
What's he doing?
He has done nothing.
He's done The Affair on Showtime. He's done Trust. It's an FX and That's 2018
Did he
stuff.
do a
just
Hallmark
doing small stuff.
Christmas special by
He
any
better
chance?
have. I'm sure he's done one. I'm sure I've seen one.
Yeah, that's career.
Are they showing the when is that Michael Jackson documentary
It
releasing?
started.
It
It
already
started
released.
on
It was Sunday
Sunday.
and Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a couple things in post production.
What do you guys think of that? Because I don't know how to feel. because I heard that
In general,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have emotions. I
Because-
don't understand these
I got-
things.
I got a couple things to bring up about this movie,
Yeah. Okay, bring up your things.
which was that not to discredit the two lead accusers, but I've heard that they're like recently fell into financial trouble. That's not the big thing
I've
though.
heard
Yeah.
that also.
But also that their stories don't necessarily check out with his actual like sexual possibilities. Like they had stories of him, like masturbating in front of him. That was like their big claim. But he apparently was chemically castrated and wasn't necessarily like capable of. Conrad Murray, who's in prison now. I don't know if he's out for killing him. Basically admitted that he was chemically castrated as a teen and child, mostly because of his father and family to keep it.
His voice.
He was basically a castrato.
That was terrible.
Yeah,
And
he
another
had
thing is that
hormones too, so
Corey
his voice wouldn't
Feldman-
trade either.
Corey Feldman,
He was in Little Boy
Yeah.
Wonder.
who I met.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman, who I
He'll
met
always
and
attest
talked
to his
about that.
innocence.
Yeah,
I know.
he was saying
So-
that the one guy in Hollywood
Yeah.
that nobody was never like, I guess, poor to him, or that he could never see being poor to others, was ironically Michael Jackson.
Macaulay Culkin says the same thing.
And
Exactly.
Macaulay Culkin says
I
the same
think-
But that still doesn't.
It
I know.
That
doesn't
still
change-
doesn't mean anything.
I think at worst at best he was still an exploitative person to those children. So then like it becomes like
In what way?
because the common theme is even if he didn't abuse them, he did like take these children, make them think they meant something to them, and then cast them away for someone younger. That's been the common theme, at least.
I guess.
Yeah. So
He's just a deeply troubled person.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then that's the way I see it. But then also I'm like, at best he actually may be an abuser. So I've been kind of like,
I don't
it's
know.
complicated.
I kind of don't buy it. I'm gonna put that out right there.
I'm gonna be
Don't buy it.
like I said. I think I said earlier in the podcast that I canceled him. I hope it's not true.
I'm distancing myself.
Yeah, I have to kind of because I mean you I don't think there's really a way to prove if he's innocent or not.
Not
Because
today,
at the
at
same
least.
time, you gotta listen to these guys, even if they are going through financial troubles. And honestly, that is like literally my favorite artist ever. And it was that was my grandmother's favorite artist. Me and her like boohoo cried
I ran out of tears.
when he died. Like
I
that
know.
whole weekend we watched
remember
nothing but his videos.
I remember the day he died.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was sitting in my living room with my uncle, and my uncle was telling me how Farrah Fawcett died. And we
Wait,
turn on
He took her day.
we turn on the news, and his mouth fell to the floor.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, Michael Jackson.
I get
is
really emotional just
dead?
to talk about Michael Jackson.
like, it was a big deal.
I was walking my
And now
neighbor's
10 years
dog.
later, we have this bombshell.
Yeah.
One of the two main accusers was also a pro Jackson witness.
they
They both were. They
Yeah.
they were both like
Yeah, they both
attesting
were.
to
Yeah.
him. Not,
They both went to court and they
and
defended him, even though they were children when
Yeah.
when they defended him. They were still children.
Since we are a film podcast, though, what do you guys feel about the impulse now, the shift to kind of excavate through film these stories of abuse? Do you think it's spectacle? Do you think there's merit? Do you think there's point?
I mean, I think film is a powerful vehicle for anything,
Yeah.
but
And you can
it could be spectacle, exploitative, sensationalized.
I think it's a little bit of all of that
It's a little bit of everything, yeah.
because
I mean,
Not to
people
say that film
people doing
shouldn't-
that understand how powerful film is.
Yeah.
Everything I have to say is conditioned by the fact that I haven't actually watched this documentary. But the things I've heard about it have been along the lines of that the documentary doesn't provide a lot of context, and that it doesn't sort of flesh out the stories that it tells. Like it's an extended like news magazine episode as opposed to being an actual documentary that's interested in the broader kinds of social conditions, illuminating the broader kinds of familial conditions that it's just like testimony, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there's room for testimony, and yet there's also a documentary art that places testimony within a context that allows people to make greater sense of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it becomes spectacle and celebrity chatter, right?
Yeah.
Or chatter about celebrities when I think you don't have broader context for understanding the situations, for recognizing, the kind of social statement that a documentary about, a guy like Michael Jackson, can't help but make,
Yeah.
and so forth, So I think documentaries are very difficult to make effectively. It's more than a matter of just like
Shooting
shit, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
talking to people and getting them to
Clips.
respond. Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, yeah, there's a documentaries aren't my favorite form of filmmaking, but a good documentary is I mean, there's a skill to making it,
Yeah, I completely agree. Almost sometimes these documentaries are films of presumptive assertion. Take
Shout out to Dr. Scarborough.
Philosophy of film class
Gang gang.
are some of the most like powerful visual medium things that I've ever seen. Not just as like cultural phenomenons, but like explicitly, as opposed to like fiction and art, even if it's historical fiction, which weighs these things that might be metaphysical. When you get documentaries, just it's a way to showcase an argument or a truth or something that exists that's different from fiction, I guess.
Right,
obviously,
obviously, but yeah,
it's just the phenomenology. There's a different feeling.
I mean, one of the interesting things to think about in terms of documentary filmmaking is the interplay of fact and subjective experience.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there's a place where a documentary filmmaker is responsible for presenting fact, but documentaries also take life when they are also capable of capturing subjective experience at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's by the interplay of those elements that oftentimes really good documentary work comes into being.
Yeah, it
F
becomes
for
a fuller
Fake by
experience.
Orson Welles.
Yeah.
What's that?
F for Fake by Orson Welles.
Well,
As
that's a different world.
As my friend would call it, F for overrated.
They didn't like it?
Nah,
I
have a friend
really
who
liked that
doesn't like
movie.
Yeah,
I like it.
I really, really like that movie.
I love that
Yeah,
movie.
it's so good. It was my first Orson Welles.
It's a unique-
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even know what he looked
That's
like.
weird. That's a weird movie.
That's
to
a
be your
weird
first
first.
Orson
Yeah.
Welles. Yeah.
But it made me like him.
Yeah.
It made me
Everyone
like
gets,
him a lot.
Like Citizen Kane first.
I mean, you
The
do get to
Stranger.
see like Orson Welles' personality in that.
Yeah.
And then when you watch his previous, a lot of his features, I mean, you see that personality coming through in ways that you might not if you hadn't gotten the F for Fake Orson Welles at first. Yeah.
Did his last documentary get dropped yet or no?
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix
Wait a
already?
minute, his last film.
Last film.
So there's a film at The Other Side of the Wind. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's on Netflix. And then also at the same time, there's a documentary about
Called
the making
Shot
of the
Missing,
film.
right?
It's not Shot Missing. It's called. I can't remember the name of the documentary. Hold on, I'll look it up.
At first, Orson Welles film was The Third Man.
That was he acts in that. He's not the Carol Reed directs it though.
Right.
Didn't
But it's a great
people
film.
people
Great
try
film.
to discredit Carol Reed, saying that.
No,
Orson
Love Me When
Welles-
I'm Dead is the name of the documentary.
Ah,
Right.
yeah.
Speaking of, also today is Miami Film Fest. Today and tomorrow, I think their spotlight documentaries are the Knock the House Down, a documentary about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which I'm just kind of like, man, this freshman Congress lady is getting a lot of attention. She even has a documentary film about her, like, uprise in life, like, right here, right now.
I realized I went on a whole facial journey. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Right.
it's just I don't
I
like
mean,
her.
I've heard you speak of AOC before.
Oh,
Go ahead,
really?
share your thoughts with us.
Should she have a documentary film featured in the Miami Film Festival?
Not this early.
Yeah,
Not
not
this
this
early,
early.
that's
She
what I'm
doesn't deserve
saying.
anything.
She has fired people up. She has
Yeah.
inspired
But
people.
at the same time, she's
That's
spineless,
her
and she's
utility
letting
that I enjoy.
Ilhan Omar fucking. She's
Yeah,
leaving her
her
out to
Omar.
die. Yeah.
Her and Omar are out there.
Yeah.
That's what I like
But
because
that's what's
they're
going
like
to happen with every politician is going to disappoint you. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, that's just what they're going to do at some point. You
Drone
know?
strikes.
That's why we need to not
Don't
subscribe to
stress.
electoral politics. Rise up.
The workers' revolution is inevitable.
Yeah, America must fall.
I think Lenin was like Mars would become the whole world would be socialist. We'd have like the Soviet Union would have a space program before America would be socialist. He said something along those lines, something crazy.
Yeah, that's why John Lennon is not a good cultural critic for anything.
Not John Lennon,
Oh.
Vlad Lenin.
That's my fault.
Oh my god.
Yeah, wrong revolutionary there.
Yeah.
Although, not that I would consider John Lennon.
Some people would.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how to feel
He's
about
counter-revolutionary, John Lennon.
he really is.
I mean, he even wrote that Revolution song about, like,
Yeah.
fuck your revolution,
Yeah.
people, right?
Exactly.
Right.
He's a reactionary.
Yeah, little bitch.
What are you looking forward to any Miami Film Festivals? Films coming out? None of that Divine Love, that seems up your alley. The nice
No
love
heartthrobs
songs.
that she likes.
Heartthrobs and the Luis Guzman, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy.
The Projectionist.
The Projectionist.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
the love film.
that's a
There's
very
one-
worthwhile film.
What's that film that okay, here it is, Helmet Heads. The one of the two couples having sex on a motorcycle.
Bro,
That would
Oh.
intrigue me.
I'm
That
tired.
intrigues
That actually kind of, it's a Chilean film, so.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so that comes out, that's
So
Friday and
is
Sunday.
Pablo Larraín like an executive producer of that, or is like? I mean, it seems like the entire Chilean film industry goes through Larraín in some way,
Jodorowsky.
shape, or form.
Let's see. His name is not on here. No,
No, his name's nowhere on
No.
on that.
not on Helmet Heads.
Wow.
But yeah, that'll be Friday and Sunday evenings, showtimes. Doesn't seem like they have rush line. Doesn't say it here. It's pretty. I think. Oh, An Affair. That's one for Khadija. It could be like watching Scandal.
I had.
Do you see how he's evaluating your taste?
Scandal's a good show.
Well, she
First
likes-
of all.
she seems to like tabloid stuff.
She likes tabloid stuff, and last week when we were talking about bad movies,
Mhm.
she was like, we asked her favorite bad movie, and it was just her favorite movie in general.
What's
which
your
is
favorite
300
movie?
Rise of an Empire.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
It's terrible, but I love it.
It's a
What?
great.
You like Rise of an Empire?
Oh no! Just
You like the-
just
What's your favorite bad movie?
Food fight!
Okay.
Exclamation point! I have to say, I
Okay.
said Transformers and food fight. I have a guilty pleasure.
Transformers.
I
I
think
used to
Michael
mess
Bay's
with
a good
Transformers
director.
movies
Okay.
a lot.
Like,
No.
Fight.
It's just
If you had
It's a good visual.
If you had a script that had explosions and bikinis,
Okay,
and you wanted one filmmaker to make it, one man's vision,
sex,
you would hire either Bruckheimer or Bay.
What's
The
that?
two B's. Jerry.
I would actually try to bring Agnes Varda on board for that project to see.
Yeah.
A vision.
Of
Yeah,
vision of
yeah.
Agnes
Yeah.
Varda's
Yeah.
existential angst
Yeah.
showcased through explosions and bikinis.
Yeah.
And they'll all wreck the same
Yeah.
haircut as
When
her.
does the Miami Film Festival end?
The 10th.
The 10th.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there's a bunch of like awesome films that are still.
At
Yeah.
events.
So the Projectionist, right?
Projectionist Helmet Heads is supposed to be between today and Sunday.
I'm kind of interested in Notti Magiche.
Notti Magiche.
Yeah, which
Which
is
one's
I guess
that?
it must be an Italian film since it's yeah,
Dante.
right.
Yeah.
But it's about it's a murder mystery slash backstage film. So it's like screenwriter competition, looking inside the industry, and then
That's
a
pretty
murder
meta.
happens, and it's like
It's like adaptation.
I'm into these movies that are about movies,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like that one is one, and that's why also the Projectionist interests me, because it's about like this Dominican guy who takes movies around in the countryside in the Dominican in the DR, and projecting them and becomes captivated by the image of a beautiful woman in one of his films, and then on from there, right?
So do you like 8.5?
Well, of course I like it.
Is it in your top 10? If it can be. Because I always try to
No.
Between 8.5 and La Dolce Vita,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm currently more on the La Dolce Vita side of.
Really?
of
I like
things.
struggle. It depends. It depends on whether I'm depressed or not.
It hits different.
Yeah.
Okay.
You watch it and you're just like, life, the past, myself. You're watching 8.5, you're like, ha.
That's a mood. You're just like, ah.
Do you like adaptation?
I love adaptation.
I
Some
hated that
people-
damn movie.
People, in film chats that I've been in, one of the most controversial films is adaptation.
Really?
I had to
Really?
watch that for a postmodern novel, and I hated every
I
second of that
love
movie.
adaptation.
Mm-mm.
I love it.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's great.
Mm.
I much prefer adaptation to something like Synecdoche,
Oh,
New
Synecdoche,
York.
New York.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna watch it because they say
So
that
much.
it's indebted 8.5. It's indebted to 8.5.
Yeah.
Well, so is adaptation,
Yeah.
in a way.
And it was not.
But adaptation is definitely a lot funnier than Synecdoche.
Oh, Synecdoche is really depressing.
Synecdoche is
That's the thing is like by the time
depressing.
Synecdoche ends, I really just
Suicidal?
want to get in the bath and open my veins. You know? It's
no,
just,
yeah.
I'm
Synecdoche.
just,
It's
my-
like this super meta,
Ah.
super sad film about making art
Uh-huh.
in a way.
You
and
guys are
being
making me want to
alive.
watch it. You're
No,
like,
you
it
should
drives
watch
you
it.
to
You should
suicide?
watch it.
I
I'm
mean,
watching
it's
this.
really
It's a film
it's
to watch.
really good
Every detail
and very depressing.
Every detail of that film is on purpose. From the second the time clock in the first scene comes on, it comes on in like, if you slow the film down, it comes on in like a wave, like the title of the film,
That's just
which is just like time. And it's just like, oh my god, everything in this movie is on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm
But
watching
it's
it.
definitely, it's definitely the kind of thing. It's like, don't be in a depressed mood when you watch it, right? So,
She's having an up week, so
all
I
right,
think
good,
I'm ready.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I like masochistic movie
Me
experiences.
too. And music
Well, I like-
experiences,
there's a-
everything
There's
experiences.
a difference between a movie that's like misanthropic
That's why I'm a Birdman.
and
girl.
and a movie that is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
You're what? Girl?
and
I'm
a
a
movie
Birdman
that
girl.
like
'Cause I like to hate
mistreats its
myself.
characters.
Oh, I hate that movie.
No, I said Bergman,
Oh, I thought you
not
said Birdman.
Birdman. I don't like
Oh.
Iñárritu at all.
Ooh, you scared me.
I don't think Bergman's misanthropic.
No, I think his movies are depressing and bleak
I
sometimes.
think it's misanthropic.
I don't think he's a misanthrope.
Oh, so I thought you were saying Birdman now, too.
No.
Okay, all
I
right.
don't think Birdman.
I think Iñárritu is misanthropic.
Yes,
I
he
don't
is. He
think he
hates
is.
his characters. He's like,
He
fuck
hates
you.
his characters, but I don't think he's a
He hates
misanthrope.
All right.
They seem to end on rather optimistic.
For Iñárritu?
Yeah, like Beautiful and Birdman were both like they had these ambiguous.
But
endings.
Babel. That ended nicely?
No. It
Babel.
ended with everyone.
I keep saying
And-
Babel.
and-
I've been saying
and-
Babel
and
since
it's
I was like
and
5.
Birdman is like, I don't care how Birdman ends. It's just like everyone.
I like Birdman.
And,
The unexpected virtue
And-
of
Ignorance.
Yes, a great title, and it perfectly sums up the film, and it's good and valid.
No.
No. Akil says no.
It's such a
Better
such a
than Bieber.
grind getting through that movie.
Yes, dude. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
But Bergman.
Yes. That's my cellular
Oh,
device.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully it survived.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, but,
She's pretty hard
but
to-
Bergman. What was I talking about? I was talking to someone about Bergman the other day. But anyway, because I have a student in my writing about film class who decided that he was going to write a paper on wild strawberries, and then he said he just went and impulse bought like a whole Bergman Criterion set. You know,
Yes.
and it's
Jose
just like,
has it. It's
That's worth
sick.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and the Criterion. There was a Criterion flash sale yesterday that I managed somehow to stay away from. You know, thank God it was only for one day.
The Bergman box set comes with this beautiful like book magazine thing with like
Yeah.
yeah, it was an experience just like going through it. Like Jose was just watching me lose my mind going through it. I was like, oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, Wild Strawberries. I was in Scarborough's class once,
Mhm.
and I was like, I think that movie's funny, and she was like, I think it's kind of depressing.
It's very depressing.
And I was
Have
like,
you-
it's.
have
But
you
that's
guys
the
watched-
art. That's like
That's
the
funny.
silver lining. You know, that is this is reality, but there's still
There's still hope.
fun,
Fun.
at least, at the
Okay.
very least.
Mm.
There's still experience.
That made me weepy. Just like, have you ever watched Ikiru by Kurosawa?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like that.
Ikadu's.
Yeah. For me, so then when I was watching, I was like, it's like that, and it's punching me in my chest the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
What depressing movie that
This is not the first time. We're under attack.
I finally watched Melancholia.
Oh,
Did you like it?
I liked it.
I did too.
Yeah,
It takes too long to start. That opening sequence is so unnecessary.
I think the whole wedding thing dragged on.
Too long.
Yeah, but as it started going, I was like, oh my god, he's comparing like depression to anxiety in a way.
And I just love John Hurt so much, and
That's the guy from 24, right? No?
from 20.
That's the television series. No?
Jack Bauer?
No.
That's
Kiefer
Oh,
Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what you're thinking. No, John Hurt is the father.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
He just goes missing.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah. I mean, even just in like a small part like he has there, there's just something about his,
Yeah. The mom annoyed me.
the dancing.
Yeah.
I mean, his dancing that is just so it's like from like some weird other realm.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, yeah, it's just so weird.
What else did you catch from the film festival?
That's it so far.
Just a little.
Yeah.
You didn't watch the Diamante movie you were talking about?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Was it good?
Oh, it's like really good. Yes.
What is it called?
What is it about?
Diamantino.
Oh, Diamantino.
So it's about this. It's about this. It's so hard to frame it, but it's about a soccer player who has a visualization that he does in order to score, but it like fails him, and also he's like it just goes into all kinds of bizarre directions. So it's about immigration too, and so there's a whole immigrant sort of stream that happens, but he also ends up getting kidnapped, and I mean the whole thing is just I mean it ends up in this weird fever dream territory, and it's just like an incredible satire, and yeah, it's just a weird film that's just over the it's over the topness is over the top.
Okay.
Seems like an experience.
I'm having a hard time describing it exactly, but it's really good. It's really fun. It's a really fun watch.
Definitely still a great catalog, and I think The Last Day Sunday has a lot of the ones we talked about being interested in, and they have like that's when they re-show everything. Not everything, but a lot of the like I think they have a showtime this weekend again for Rojo. They have Knock the House Down.
Mm-hmm.
They have Burning again. I think.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Saturday.
On Saturday.
Oh, and they do that whole fashion film
Yeah.
thing this weekend too, right?
So yeah.
Wait a minute, Ashes the Purest White is showing? Dude.
When?
On Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday's the best
I didn't
day.
even know that.
Sunday.
Oh my God! We actually have a chance to go see Ashes the Purest White. It's on Saturday and Sunday. Oh.
Yeah.
What's Ashes the Purest White?
It's a was it Chinese film? Because they always do like a bunch of really good Chinese movies, but this is a let me read the thing. Kiao, I don't know how to pronounce the name, is devoted to her mobster lover Bin. During a fight between rival gangs, she fires a gun to protect him and ends up spending 5 years in prison for her act of loyalty.
Oh wow.
But anyway, it's like this is I have heard really really good things about this movie.
Okay.
Definitely wants to check out.
I've heard this plot before.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Everything's
It's telling,
derivative.
not the
No,
telling.
I know that's true. That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey man, the same plot. It.
Asian filmmakers do that though.
You can find it in Greek mythology, the Bible, or in
Yeah,
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You'll get to it. Even Jesus is a Greek tragic hero.
But
It's that's a common like Yakuza movie.
right.
Someone does a bid for somebody and they're able to.
Right.
But
It's
yeah,
not a knock on it.
I think Saturday and Sunday are definitely the best days for
Okay.
all our most interesting The ones that we brought up as the most interesting ones.
Yeah.
AOC, Meryl Streep, documentaries,
Burning.
Burning. Yeah,
Is Burning only showing Saturday? Or is it Saturday and Sunday?
it's probably Saturday. They have a lot of time to get in there. Yeah. All those and more at the
All
Miami
those
Film
Oh yeah,
Festival.
yeah. It's this weekend's going to be
Lit.
superb. Lit.
Lit.
Yeah. So I could not emphasize how much
Yeah, Rojo's playing again.
you gotta go
Cinema
and
Miami
see
Beach.
at the Cinematheque.
Yes.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
fire.
So definitely check out the Miami Film Festival and protest the Oscars.
Abolish the Oscars.
Abolish the Oscars.
No, you don't want to
No.
abolish the Oscars.
Okay, the Oscars
I
are
mean,
fun.
The Oscars are fun.
Are
They bring
Yes.
viewership to movies too.
Yeah, they.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Well, if we
Oscars
look
weren't
at
that
life
bad.
through capitalist metrics, yes, they give those movies a boost.
The Workers' Revolution is
Also, it's always fun to complain about the Oscars.
It's always fun.
You know?
Is it?
It
I feel like
is.
breaking out the hard liquor
Oh, really?
and just drowning out my sorrows.
I mean, it's like if it just it's part of the joy of life for me. It's just like ragging on the Academy for its stupid choices. You know,
Good choices.
I-
How do you feel about Steven Spielberg and his declaration?
What did he say?
he said that streaming movies shouldn't be eligible for Oscars.
Period.
Yeah.
He said the movie should have to be in theaters for, I think he said, what release.
So he goes and fucks
4
up the way
weeks.
Yeah,
movies
something
are
like that,
released. Period.
I know,
and
this
then
is the
when it
guy
happens to
doing
him,
So
Yeah.
I agree with that. You know,
I agree with it too.
You know,
I kind of
look
agree
at
with
these
that.
snobs.
But it's
Well,
pretty
it's not-
The
definitely
thing is,
funny.
they already have awards for television. They're called Emmys, right? And so a streaming movie should if the Emmys want to include that as a category, go ahead and include that. But I mean,
Why can't it be? But it's a movie. We're evaluating movies.
He's saying
if it's a movie ought to be able to play in a theater.
Spielberg,
But
what he was saying
I mean-
was have it in the theater first.
Right.
But then think about accessibility, because then also, for example, like I'd never go to the movie theaters ever.
But that's the
But I
point.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like-
that's the point.
It's
Right.
easy if you're just on a streaming service. You're not paying for that movie specifically. You didn't go for that movie specifically.
It's part of the
But I'm just like,
experience.
in terms of like getting the movie out to the most people as possible, then streaming has its
Absolutely.
merits.
And Netflix gives
Yeah.
plenty of opportunities to people that normally wouldn't get opportunities.
Exactly.
To make films.
Right.
So I see it's all about letting people have access to the
No
arts
one's
and therefore
saying
being
take it
cool.
away.
Yeah.
It's just that you can't get it
Now,
away.
I think he
Right.
said,
Yeah.
I think he said it has to be in theaters for a certain amount of time. I don't agree on the amount of time he said that because there's certain movies that wouldn't get picked up and wouldn't be put in theaters for a
Exactly.
certain amount of time. So I don't fully agree with what he's saying, but I do think there should be some sort of.
I think he's being a
yeah.
hypocrite.
He is. He did that with DVDs too.
Bro,
Yeah.
the guy invented the blockbuster.
Exactly.
He ruined
And the
cinema.
streaming
So
Exactly. And then he sees the next phase of ruining cinema, and now he wants to get hurt.
Him and George Lucas tried to say that DVD should only come with 3 plays and then should expire.
Oh, shut up.
Get that old bull crap out of here.
No.
Well, people can be wrong
I
about
know
one
that
thing
even
and
works.
right about another thing.
That's Yeah, true.
you're
I mean,
right.
it's-
But he's not fully right about the Netflix thing.
I mean, I think movies should be released in theaters in order to be considered for an Oscar.
I agree also.
I agree.
I also
with that.
agree.
You know,
I also agree.
and you want to talk about access, but you can have a situation where people who want to see a movie on a big screen don't have access to a
Because it's
showing
on a
in that way
streaming
because of the way that things have gone.
Yeah.
And it's just, and I'm sorry, if it's a good movie, the experience of seeing it on a big screen is better than the experience of seeing it on a small screen. It just is.
More about this with our week
It's
one
gonna sound like
podcast.
blasphemy. I've watched at least 7 Bergman movies on my phone.
Yeah.
You know what seems
Yeah.
to work? I've never seen one of your movies in theaters. How about
Never,
that?
ever.
I've only seen the post in theaters.
You
Wow.
never saw a Spielberg movie in
None of the good ones came out while I was alive.
Yeah, and I don't like
See,
E.T.
but the
I
thing
saw
is-
them all on
the
DVD.
thing
and
is-
Munich
VHS.
came out while you were.
As a matter of
10.
fact, most of the movies I've seen in my life has either been on a computer or a television set.
Or on my phone.
So this is.
I'm
bull.
not, and I'm sure that, well, I don't know, over the entire course of my life. But probably I've seen more movies on a television set than
Oh yeah,
than
Than paying
on a big screen.
$13.
But still, I mean, it's like the best experiences are big screen experiences.
That's
And there are movies. I mean, there are movies that just that are just just are completely different on that big screen than they are when you watch
Absolutely.
them on
Right.
a small screen.
Nolan films are definitely different.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you can't watch Dunkirk in a non-theater and expect the same experience
It's
because it's
not,
all
right,
sound
right.
and
right.
IMAX screen.
Dude,
Right.
in the theater,
You were in
Dunkirk
war.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In a theater.
Dunkirk, the
No,
gun
that's right.
sounds. I was thinking to myself, like, bro, if someone could shoot up this
Yeah,
theater
dude.
and nobody would know,
Yeah, dude.
nobody would be none the wiser if they just
Nah.
like.
man.
That movie deserved the awards.
For
Last
sound
year's
music?
awards were a lot better than this year's. But yeah, it deserved all the awards it won.
Yeah.
It got the sound editing. It got the.
I didn't think
it got the and editing also. I mean, I think the editing that was superb.
really
You know,
good.
yeah.
I didn't think it was like anything crazy as a film, like as a profound experience.
Yeah,
but the realism in that movie is something noteworthy
Yeah.
in terms of film. Like when he puts that camera on the beach floor and the
Yeah,
bombs
and
are
the
coming
bombs
to
and
you.
that-
I was
that-
I was in the theater like jaw dropped. I was like,
Yeah.
I have not seen things like
There was
this,
a
bro.
scene-
Like,
Yeah.
I have not experienced
Wow.
a movie like this
Yeah.
before.
And
Yeah.
it is. I mean, that's. I mean, I hope that in another 10 years that Dunkirk makes a return to theaters and
You gotta watch
does
that
kind of
movie
thing.
in theaters.
Because that's just like it's an amazing experience
Yeah.
to see that in IMAX. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
gonna lie, I cried. It got me. I
Yeah.
cried.
Harry
Was it 'cause of
Styles
Harry?
is
It
dying.
was not
Oh, Harry Styles died.
I don't remember.
Oh.
I
I
don't
don't
think so.
think he did.
Oh, Harry
Spoiler
Styles
alert.
lived?
Listen, no, it wasn't even that. Obviously, that's why I went to watch it. But
Obviously.
obviously.
Well, I
But-
thought maybe to see Cillian Murphy, but
Well,
Oh,
yes,
no.
yes. Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
I hate Tommy.
No, listen. Peaky
I'm an
Blinders.
Arthur girl.
I don't even remember who that is.
Arthur's the hothead brother with the handlebar
Oh
mustache.
God, how could you?
Not in terms of crush. I just like him. Tommy
Never
is
say your
horrible.
thing.
Yeah.
No, what? No,
Yeah.
I forgot. But I was just saying. No, just like being there and like I felt like I was like, damn, war. Like.
Damn war.
Yeah, I felt
That
like
was
you were in the middle
literally
of it.
what I was.
You literally
thinking.
felt like you were on that beach, just like, oh look, a Stuka, and they do the Stuka sounds. Shout out to House That Jack Built. You should watch Dunkirk and then watch House That Jack Built.
Oh, do they
Just-
do the Stuka sounds in House of
What's
Jack?
Stuka?
Well, he mentioned
It's
What's
a dive.
that?
It's a German dive bomber.
In the House of Jack Built, he compares the sound of the Stuka
Uh-huh.
to something artistic, to something so evil,
Uh-huh.
but could only be made like by someone
I see.
that that this is something that's beautiful in the terms of the way that it affects people.
The
Yeah.
complete
But
terror.
it's dark and
right.
disgusting.
Because they put
This is where it
like
comes from.
whistles on the wings
Yeah.
so that when
So you
when
know
they're
it's
done.
coming.
So it would go
Yeah.
like, and
So
you're in
know
Dunkirk.
it's coming.
It fucking happens, and you're like, and like all the people on the beach turn around when they start hearing that
Oh.
siren, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
There was a shot.
and you hear just like the Dunkirk, like the ambient music, like, boom, boom, and just like this Stuka, like,
The sound was so good in that, and also just like they captured like there's an engine that the British
Yeah.
warplanes use called a Merlin engine.
Mhm.
They
Rolls
captured
Royce
just the
engines.
sound of that
Yeah.
engine like beautifully, and like
Wow.
all of the like just the
You felt
was-
like you were there.
yeah.
The cinematography in the movie was really good.
It was
It
really
was.
good.
that was a well-made movie.
There was a scene.
Hoyte
Like,
van Hoytema is like
Yeah,
is
he's
like one
really
of my
good.
favorites.
Dunkirk High around
he
here.
was
It
really
was
good.
really
Oscar winners we like.
Huzzah!
up?
You're here!
There was a shot where it's like they're all wearing like their hats, their soldier hats, and like it's going up the beach, and then one person looks up and kind of breaks the pattern that's going on. And,
Soldier hats.
yeah, I don't know what the hat is
A
called, but
helmet.
it's a
No,
helmet.
like the little like private hats, like they had like
It was a weird thing. It kind of had a brim.
Yeah,
around.
those are the British
the
helmets.
doughboy.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
doughboy
Right,
helmet thing.
right.
Yeah, but it was one of those, and like one person
Like,
looks
you
up
mean
as
a helmet?
the planes get louder, and
Yeah.
then everyone looks up,
And then
yeah,
everyone looks up, and
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
the Stuka,
Yeah,
the
the helmets.
Stuka, like,
Yep.
oh
That's a
man,
helmet.
dive bombing planes.
Cillian Murphy does it for
yeah, they
you?
look like those.
Huh?
His face
He doesn't
condition.
do it
He's
for
like
you?
hot sometimes, ugly other times.
He's ugly sexy.
No,
I
that
think.
Yeah.
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 I think he's good
I
looking.
think he's just got a unique face.
I don't think he's crazy good looking.
He's got a unique face.
He does have a
He
unique
has a
face.
he has a
He
unique
has a
look.
unique face.
I just hate him in Peaky
He's kind of
Blinders.
small, isn't
Why
he?
did you hate
You're the
him?
first person I met that watches Peaky Blinders. I've just been
I
by
watched
myself.
Peaky Blinders. I don't like it.
You
What?
don't like it?
don't think
I love
so.
that show.
I'm sorry.
I
Sorry
stopped.
for the Peaky Blinders
I
thing.
stopped after Grace died.
Oh, I didn't know Grace.
Whoa! Okay.
Grace was my least favorite
All right,
character.
I'm gonna-
She was a
I
cop.
didn't love
Fuck
her.
Grace.
I didn't love her as a character. I just
I'm gonna
love
have
the
to
way he
edit
loved
some.
her.
Okay.
It was just the way
Oh,
he
but
loved
also
her.
I don't like Tommy, so I was like, yeah, okay,
Yeah, see,
whatever.
I was watching for him.
I
Yeah.
watched for everyone else but Tommy Shelby.
No.
Yeah.
I think
just really appreciated
I think on that note,
Yeah.
it's fine to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So go to the Miami Film Festival,
They don't want us to blur movie and TV.
especially Saturday and
TV's
Sunday.
high art,
Yes.
though, guys. Don't let us forget.
The Oscars were okay, but they're always okay.
They're particularly bad this year.
They were
though.
particularly bad this year, and couldn't recommend Miami Film Festival showing this weekend that I couldn't recommend more. I'm gonna go with Burning. I think you'll go for Rojo.
Burning is beautifully shot, so I will endorse Burning.
You'll endorse Burning.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
endorse
that's my going out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cat was the star of the movie. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say the one I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
most is Ashes the Purest Way.
Oh,
Okay.
Ashes the Purest Way.
Actually,
Okay.
But I would also
Are you catching the Saturday or the Sunday showing?
I don't know yet. Probably the Saturday. See, my daughter's in town visiting. Shout out to Becca. And
Gang, gang.
it depends on like all of the all of that.
Okay.
If you see it Sunday, I'll see you there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I might go Sunday.
Sunday's a day to go.
Because I
Yeah.
work Saturday.
When's the
Sunday one's I think.
party? When's the
Sunday's
weekend
Ashes
party?
of Purest Way.
Weekend
Yeah.
party. There's a
I
party.
think everyone's
Oh, there's lots of parties.
There's film festival parties all the time.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, wait a minute.
The rap party.
Sunday might not happen. I have an obligation.
Oh no.
I hate application.
What's your obligation?
It's a friend's birthday,
Aw.
and he told me 2 weeks ago that.
Aw. You trapped in them plans.
That
boy.
friend's name, Albert Einstein.